Good afternoon, everyone. It is Thursday, May 23rd, approaching 3 p.m. now, and welcome to this afternoon's video weather discussion, where we are going to have an update on the next round of severe weather potential coming up for the state, and that is going to be for your Friday. And we do have a chance of severe weather pretty much across the entire state for Friday, and we are expecting at this point either one to potentially two rounds of shower and thunderstorm activity to move across the state anywhere from Friday morning into early Friday night, and that activity will pose a severe weather threat along with it. So kicking things off here, let's take a look at one of the weather forecast models. Now this is just one solution out of a couple of different solutions that are possible here. So what we are expecting to happen, first of all, is this afternoon, this evening, and tonight, there's going to be severe weather out across the Plain States, South Dakota, Nebraska, down into Kansas. And what we're expecting to see happen here is there's going to be a big complex of severe thunderstorms that especially gets going over the Nebraska area as we head into this evening and into overnight tonight. And then once we do head overnight tonight, you can see how this big complex of what will be rain thunderstorms and severe thunderstorms moves from Nebraska out into Minnesota and Iowa during the overnight hours tonight, and eventually deeper into Iowa and even towards Wisconsin, Minnesota still here during the morning hours. This is right around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning here on Friday. And some of this activity, even during the overnight hours and early morning hours out here across Minnesota and Iowa, some of that activity will be severe during that time still. And then as we work towards the mid to late morning, you can see this particular model then also not only has that main complex go on, but it also has additional development occur as we head towards later morning and the middle of the day as well further south, and that kind of congeals, at least on this particular model. You can see how it loosely congeals into this big QLCS, quasi-linear convective system, pretty much a broken kind of squall line kind of setup here. And then this activity then sweeps off towards the east on this particular model as we head from midday through the afternoon and eventually into the evening. As you can see, it affects a good chunk of the state of Illinois here on this particular model, and that continues into Friday night as well as it eventually weakens, moving into Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. You'll also notice a couple more showers and thunderstorms behind that first wave of activity as we head later into Friday evening and Friday night. So that's one model take at the situation that we're expecting. Let's take a look at one of the other forecast models here. And this one is going to have a slightly different solution you're going to see here in just a moment. So once again, similar to the first model I showed you, we get this big complex of severe weather out here across Nebraska that moves into Iowa during the overnight tonight. You can see it sweeping across Iowa and Minnesota during the overnight hours and into the morning hours here early on Friday. But this particular model, you could see, weakens that complex of storms as it moves up into northern Illinois and up into Wisconsin as well. And instead, as that first area weakens, it has a secondary line of severe thunderstorms develop, and then that moves across the state. So that's just two different models that I've showed you here, but those are the two different solutions that we're trying to see, which one's going to happen at this point in time. Is that Nebraska activity from tonight going to maintain itself through the overnight, through the morning, and then eventually reinvigorate as it approaches Illinois and then further develop south and then move across the state? In which case we would only have one round of activity, or is it going to be similar to this model, where that activity overnight in Iowa and Nebraska does move into parts of northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin during the morning, but in a weakening phase, and then do we see a second round of activity develop during the day, which then would move across a much larger portion of the state? So there's two different scenarios that are in play at this point in time, but both of those scenarios do bring rain and thunderstorms across the state, and they bring a severe weather opportunity across the state as well. But it's just, the question is right now, are we going to see one round of activity across the entire state, or 2 rounds of activity, with the first round of activity being further north? So that's really the question right now at hand, is what scenario is going to work out. Are we going to see 1 or 2 rounds of activity? But in any case, no matter what scenario we see work out, we are expecting a severe weather threat across the state. On the screen right now is our updated severe weather forecast that we put together this morning. And as you can see, we did upgrade the entire state to the green shaded color, which is the level 2 severe thunderstorm risk. So we are now expecting at least widely scattered severe thunderstorm potential across the entire state. So the level 1 risk is an isolated threat. The level 2 risk is slightly higher coverage, more of a widely scattered severe thunderstorm threat. So once again, anywhere from Friday morning through early Friday night, we'll see 1 or 2 rounds of showers and thunderstorms move across the state with some severe weather potential. Now, in terms of what kind of risk we could be dealing with, damaging winds appears to be the biggest risk for any of the severe weather potential on Friday. There could be some hail as well. Also, wouldn't totally rule out an isolated tornado threat, but by far, damaging winds will most definitely be the biggest severe weather threat as it looks at this point in time for your Friday. And really, that's a good summary of things at this point in time. Now, for the weekend, obviously, it's a 3-day weekend. It's a holiday weekend. Memorial Day is on Monday. We're going to be dealing with another severe weather risk that's going to come in Saturday night and also into Sunday. So this risk coming up here for Friday is not all we're going to be dealing with. We could have another storm system move in for the weekend, bringing yet another severe weather risk Saturday night and especially into the day on Sunday. And we'll start to talk more about the weekend severe weather risk as we get into the day tomorrow. More so, we'll start to touch more on that threat. Debbie checking in here, wondering when the weather pattern is going to change. Well, the good news is that after this weekend, it does look like this weather pattern is going to change at least just a little bit. And we should see at least somewhat less of a severe weather threat coming up here for the next while. That's what it looks like after this weekend. So once we get through the severe weather threat coming up for Friday and then the severe weather threat for Saturday night and into Sunday, it does look like we'll calm things down just a little bit for at least a couple days. So that's some good news. But for now, obviously going to be dealing with the severe weather threat. As you can see here on the screen for Friday, we're expecting 1 or 2 rounds of potential rain and thunderstorm activity, which could pose a severe weather threat across the state. And once again, this could be anywhere from Friday morning all the way through early Friday night. And once again, damaging winds will be the biggest threat with this activity on Friday, but there could be some hail and isolated tornado potential as well. But once again, by far, damaging winds, the biggest threat with any severe weather activity for your Friday. That'll sum it up for now, though, this afternoon. We'll go ahead and keep this discussion brief since we're running a little bit late today, but we will be back on later tonight with another full update regarding the severe weather forecast situation for your Friday. Until then, though, everyone enjoy your Thursday.